What's up, Ford Fusion fans? This is a 18 Fusion Sport, the 2.7 liter turbo. Had some noises, some clunking noises when you come to a stop or gently apply the brakes coming from the front on both sides. So I figured I'd get in here and figure out what was going on. When I first got this car, I did replace the front pads and rotors. So these are aftermarket. Forget these. The rotors came from AutoZone. The pads I actually ended up getting from a Centric dealer. Centric. I can't. There's not a part number on this one, but anyways, these are Centric pads. I got them from a parts place local here. Now, the issue I was having with the clunking noise when you would apply the brakes, so putting this pad back into the caliper bracket, I can take this pad and basically it's hard to see on the video. Let's see if I can even see it here. If you hear the clunking noise, I can move this pad back and forth in the caliper bracket. So every time I was coming to a stop, the pad would shift back and forward on the bracket and give me that clunking noise. So I went and got the Ford Motorcraft pads, which honestly, if I'd have known what I know now then, I would have gotten these from the get-go, because apparently these are Akebono, which are really nice parts. Akebono makes good parts. I've known about them for years. In my opinion, I would probably take an Akebono brake part over these Centrics. Now, given then I'm not knowing what manufacturer is actually making all these parts and just stamping names on them, but when I compare these two together, so this is the Motorcraft part and the one on the right being the Centric part, they are different. They got different shims on them. The chamfer cuts at the end here are different, and the vent cuts in the pad are different. So they are made almost completely different. Now, if I take the Centric pad out and put Motorcraft pad in, I've got nothing. I can't wiggle this thing to save my life. It's in there, and there's no play at all in this bracket whatsoever, whereas this other one gives me play. And as you can see, let's see if I can zoom in on it, there's a little bit of rust built up here along this edge. I can only assume where it's been rubbing against the bracket, and it shouldn't do that. It should be solid in there, just like this pad is here. Now, the other cool thing, I thought I'd seen it all over the years with brake parts, but coming with the pad already built in from the factory, this is the first. So this blue label on here is actually just a cover over the shim on here. Now, when you peel this back, I can't do it with my glove on, but when you peel this back, a good portion of the shim all the way around has got it's basically almost like a sticker. So this pad, once I take this plastic off here, it'll actually stick to the back side or the inside of this caliper. So the pad will actually be attached to the caliper with this sticky residue that's on the shim, which I find pretty cool, because this set of brakes, normally, most of the Ford brakes have, if you've ever done them, like the Tauruses and some of the older Fusions, there's a lot of Fords out there that have them. They have two metal pins or clips that attach to the top of both pads on each side, and they're spreaders. They spread and keep tension on the pads. They keep the tension away from the rotor, so it keeps the pads spread open instead of laying up against the rotor. Now, for whatever reason that I'm aware of, Ford did not do that on this braking system on this Fusion Sport. I've seen the Edge ST have a very similar caliper and braking system set up. The next chance I get, I'm going to see if I can take one of the front calipers off and compare and see if they use the same braking components for this Fusion Sport that they did the Edge ST. So I'll have to check that out at a later date. But anyway, so without having those pins and clips here to keep the pads away from the rotor, having this sticky pad here and having the pad attach itself to the inside of this caliper does the same thing. It keeps the pad away from the rotor, so the pad isn't resting up against the rotor the whole time when you're not applying the brakes. So I'm interested to see how much better these brakes work, or basically just function without noise and any issues with this sticky pad on here as a shim, because this centric part does not have that. It's just a basic shim. There's nothing sticky about this. You could put like the red I think it's CRC makes a red grease that's kind of tacky. You could put that on here and that might do the same thing, but when I peeled this label back on here, it was pretty sticky. My finger wanted to stick to that really well. It was definitely, way more sticky than just like something you'd see on a Post-it note. I'd say, if the surface on the back here where my finger is, if that's completely clean and you peel this off and then stick the caliper on there, the first time that caliper clamps onto these pads, this pad should be good and stuck to the inside of this caliper. So I have to hand it to Ford. What a weird way to go about this instead of using those clips. But I'll be honest with you, those clips, if you've ever done them, you know as well as I do that they are a royal pain to deal with. Having to use both hands to put a caliper on to hold the pads together as you try to put, slide the caliper over top of the pads and not have those clips go flying on you. So if this works like I think it should, I probably prefer this method than using those clips anyways, so maybe that's why Ford did it, but I'm not sure, so we'll see. I'm going to put this together. This is my first side. I got to do the passenger side still. This is the driver's side. But like I said, there's no movement in this pad, in this Motorcraft part number pad at all. So that clunking noise I'm getting should go away. The part number, let me see. Here's the part number for the Motorcraft pad. BRF 1559. Should be able to get these from Ford. There are some parts places that carry Motorcraft parts. Should be able to order them there too. But if you've got a Fusion Sport 17, 18, 19, they should all 3 years should be the same braking components. If you haven't tried these pads, give them a shot. I'll do an update after I get these on and drive the car for a couple days and see how they actually do, and I'll let you know. But so far, just judging, comparison, part next to part, I'd say this is a better deal. So my compressor just kicked on, so I'm gonna let you guys go and get back to work. Bye.